Hello, my name is Sally. I am one of the makeup artists working with Look Fabulous Forever, which is skincare, hair care and makeup specifically designed for older faces. So today I have my lovely model Julia with me, who we're going to do a dilemma shoot today for you. And one of the dilemmas that is very, very common as we get older is crepey eyes and eyelids, and that's a dilemma that Julia would like me to focus on today. And it's, as I said, it's a really, really common problem because as we age there is lack of collagen and elastin and dehydration around the eyes, and obviously we get more lines, we get sort of fine lines, and everything starts to sag a little bit, both on the lid area and also just under the eyes. So Look Fabulous Forever have got some fantastic products that can actually help with this problem, and we are going to work today. I'm going to give Julia a full makeover. Julia, I hope you don't mind me saying, is 68 and looking gorgeous with no makeup. I wish I looked this good with no makeup, but we're going to just do a full makeover and focus on crepey eyes. There are some things that you can do to help with dehydration and this sort of thing, and one of them is to use a really good eye cream at night, which will help with we get dehydrated, and in the morning sometimes this area can be really taut. So Look Fabulous Forever have got something called Night Revive eye cream, which is brilliant, and you don't need very much at all. It's got really lovely ingredients, vitamins A, C, E, and it's also got japonica seed oil, and it's brilliant also as a sort of a colour corrector. So using a tiny little bit of this at night will really help your makeup go on in the morning. The other thing is obviously drinking a lot of water and making sure you've got omega-3 and omega-6 in your diet. A good diet is really important just to help with dehydration and crepiness. So we have already prepared Julia's skin. So she has used our lovely daily SPF 50+ serum, and she has got a little bit of moisturizer, so she's ready to go with makeup. It's always worth waiting a few minutes to let the moisturizer sink in before we start with makeup. Julia has got lovely skin, but I'm going to use something that I use on everybody and myself before I put on the base, and I'm going to use Smooth Like Silk Face Prime, which is it's what it says on the tin. It is a primer to put on the face before you put on either your Light Look Beauty Balm or your Continuous Cover Foundation. So we don't need very much. A couple of pumps on the hand, and what this does is it will fill in any fine lines. So I'm going to bring it to just sort of here on the eye area, not right up, but just here. Make sure you put it on the nose where there's often slightly open pores, just around the mouth and the cheeks. So it will fill in any sort of fine lines, open pores, and it means that your foundation or Light Look Beauty Balm, when it goes on, will go onto a really smooth base and will stay on all day. I'm going to use Light Look Beauty Balm, which is one step more than a tinted moisturiser, but not quite as heavy as the Continuous Cover Foundation. And you might find as the summer goes on, your skin colour changes slightly. So I'm actually going to mix the 0.5, the lightest one, with the shade number 1. And you might find that for you, that's quite a nice thing to do if you've got a little bit more colour, and then in the winter you might just go back and you can tailor make your foundation absolutely to your skin tone. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to be using our foundation brush number 10, which is brilliant for applying. And this is a really good product for older skin because it doesn't sit in any fine lines. Julia's got beautiful short hair, so make sure you do get right up to the ears with short hair. I'm now going to use our Cover to Cover concealer, which is really creamy, which is really good if you have got crepey eyes, because you don't want to put anything that is drying around the eye area. I would also apply it quite sparingly around this sort of area because you don't want anything to sit into fine lines. Stippling it on with my concealer brush number 4, but very lightly. Just in this sort of area. I'm not going to put lots of concealer here, maybe just a tiny bit just there, but not too much here because there's not much darkness. And then I'm taking my ring finger, so if you do this yourself, take your ring finger and just tap, just to melt the concealer into the Light Look Beauty Balm. And you'll find then it won't crease, because creasing concealer with sort of crepey eyes is a very common problem. Because the concealer is so creamy, it's also ideal for any kind of pigmentation or sunspots, and I tend to do that with a slightly smaller brush often. If there's small areas, you can just sort of pinpoint little areas and just, it's like, I call this, well, it's like Tipp-Ex of the face. It's just, you can just get rid of any little bits of discoloration that you want to. So to finish off the face and the base before we start on the eyes, I'm going to use our beautiful translucent finishing powder, which again is super sheer. If you use just any old powder near eyes that are crepey, it will just sit in fine lines. And ours is specifically developed for older skin, so it doesn't just sit in lines. It's so finely milled. So I'm just going to literally sweep this over and just not putting loads around the eye area, but just making sure that everything, particularly that we have concealed, is going to be set. An essential product to use if you've got crepey eyes is Smooth Out Eye Prime, because it does two things. It will literally just smooth out the lid area where there is a little bit of crepiness, and it means that when you put your eyeshadow on, it will go on much easier, and it will last and it won't crease, which can be more of a problem if you have got crepey eyes. You might find that your eyeshadow creases and sort of sits in. So this is a fantastic product. You don't need very much, but when you use it, make sure that your eyelids are dry and oil-free. Okay, so I'm just going to put this all over Julia's eyelid. I like to put it on with the concealer brush. You can put it on with fingers as long as they're obviously clean and oil-free as well. And I'm going to bring it just a little bit higher to where we're going to be putting the eyeshadow. So if you've got discoloration or sort of slightly veiny eyes, because our eyes become much thinner, as well as going a little bit crepier and saggier and baggier, they tend to go a bit thinner, so you start to see little veins appearing on your eyelids as you get older. So this product will actually also just cover and mean that when you put your eyeshadow on, it goes on as a true colour. So you can see I'm not dragging at the eye, I'm pretty much sort of stippling it on very gently, always very gentle around the eye area. You don't want to make anything worse, you don't want to drag at your eyes. So if you have crepey eyes, I would say that using matte shadows is kinder. Matte shadows do not show any fine lines and crepiness, so you're going to be totally safe using the beautiful matte shadows that Look Fabulous Forever do. We do also have some creamy eyeshadow sticks, which actually do work even on eyes that are slightly crepey, but I wouldn't use them all over. I'd probably just use it in the centre. But today I'm going to just use the matte shadows on Julia. So I'm going to start using our beautiful shading Cream. I'm going to use brush number 7, which is a really lovely eyeshadow brush, which is good for applying in larger areas and for blending. So I'm applying the cream all over the lid. Now, when you're doing this yourself, if you've got crepey eyes, it's important that you are able to pull your eye slightly taut so that you don't miss any areas. Because if you've got crepey eyes, it's very easy to miss a little bit. So what I don't want you to do is to drag your eye like that, because that's not good for the eye. But if you're doing it yourself, what I sometimes do is actually pinch my eye, just sort of close your eye and pinch it towards the nose and lift it. So I'm not dragging it outwards, but it means that I can actually make sure that I've got the whole lid covered, because otherwise sometimes if there are a few crepey areas, it's easy to miss a little bit. Okay. The other thing you can do is, rather than drag it, you can press the eyeshadow in if you've got crepier eyes, so that it's, again, working, because with crepey eyes the skin tends to be a little bit looser, so when we're young it's easy just to swipe it on in sort of swiping motion. But with crepey eyes, if you press it and pat it in, you'll find, and hold it slightly taut, it'll go on better. What I'm going to use now is I'm going to use a slightly darker colour to push back the area that is a little bit crepey in this area here. And I'm going to use dark taupe to do that. I'm also going to use a smaller brush. So this is our brush number 9, but it's a little bit smaller, a little bit firmer than our brush number 7. So it's really good for the darker crease line colour. If you struggle doing this yourself, you might find that actually using a cotton pad as a as a template can help you. You can just literally place it over your eye and do a sweeping motion like so, while looking in the other eye obviously, to get that sort of socket line colour. It has to be a little bit higher than you might think you want to put it, because if you put it too low, you won't see it, because where your eyes are crepey and slightly hooded, it will sort of hang over. So because we're using a dark colour there, it will push that area back. The other thing you can use is a tissue. You can have lots of things as templates. You can use your cotton pad. Some ladies like to even use eyelash curlers. If you've got some eyelash curlers, you can use those as a template and just hold them up, because they get a nice shape there. Or you can do it freehand. If you've got crepey eyes, it's hard to do it like that. It's easier to actually press the shadow in. So if I just, what I'm going to do is do that, and so we're sort of pressing the shadow in rather than trying to do it in a sort of swipe. You'll find it much easier to press it in. I'm putting a little bit on this area here as well, just on that outer edge. It will look a bit strange until it's blended, so don't panic when you're doing this yourself, because it's a little bit higher than it might feel normal. And then what I'm doing is going back in with this brush just to blend out the edges. I'm just bringing it down. I tend to blend from the outside in, so that I'm not, again, dragging the eye away, which we don't want to do. We're just taking off the edges, and this is with the brush number 7 again. The other thing you can do if you've got crepey eyes is when you blend your eyeshadow, rather than doing it in strokes, do it in a little bit more of a circular motion, because you'll find it easier to work into crepier skin if you slightly swirl the brush rather than just doing it in straight lines. Obviously Julie's got her eyes shut for me, but if you are able, when you blend your own dark shadow, blend it with your eye open. So look at yourself with your eyes open, so that you know that you've gone high enough. You want to be able to still see that colour when your eye is open. A lot of ladies ask, should we wear eyeliner if we have crepey eyes? There's no reason why you cannot wear an eyeliner, or you can use eyeshadow as an eyeliner. I actually like to do both. Look Fabulous Forever have got fantastic soft eyeliners. Soft is important with crepey eyes. You do not want anything that is going to drag at the skin, because the skin, you don't want it to look bumpy, you want it to look smooth. So this is how I do it. What you want to do yourself is close your eyes. If you're able to close one and keep the other one open, that's helpful. If you can't, then just pull your eye, like I showed you before with your eye, just pull your eye closed with your finger so that it's nice and smooth and taut. And then start at the last eyelash and literally little fine, you can either do little dots and join the dots, lift it slightly at that last eyelash, and then little short strokes right into the base of the lashes. And with crepey eyes, I would focus mainly on the outer edge of your eyes. I wouldn't go all the way across. I use the dark brown on the top to make sure that the lashes have real definition, and I'm going to go over that with an eyeshadow. But before I go over it, I'm going to use a slightly lighter one on the bottom. I'm going to use Warm Taupe, which is really a little bit softer, so it's not quite such a strong colour, but it's going to give Julia just that little bit of definition. And again, I go right to the base of the lashes, slightly wider at the edge. I'm actually going to go in with a third colour on the top. I could have used the dark taupe, but I'm going to use Chocolate, which is a really lovely brown that's got sort of a little bit of a plumminess to it as well, so it suits everybody, warm and cool. And I'm going to use my wedge brush number 8. Now, what this is going to do is going to set the eyeliner and soften it, which is really important if you've got crepey eyelids, to make sure that it's properly set. Literally just putting this into the base of the lashes. So if you just don't want to use a pencil, you can just do this instead. But I quite like to do both, particularly on the top lashes, just to give that little bit of extra oomph. So I've got the pointy bit on the outer edge, and I'm literally just pressing it into and going over the eyeliner that I've applied earlier. So underneath, because I've used a lighter colour eyeliner, I'm not going to put the chocolate on, I'm going to go in with the dark taupe again. And I'm going to use Lithe Lash Mascara in black waterproof, which again, if you've got sort of crepey eyes, it's quite nice sometimes to use a waterproof one, which will then just means it's going to stay put, even if there's a little bit of crepiness or hoodedness on the eye. But you can just use the normal one too. So, but we're going to use the waterproof today, particularly as it's a little bit warm out there, so it'll keep it in place. You can coat the top first if you want to. Then go from underneath and wiggle through. Always take your time doing your mascara because it's very easy to rush it, blob it, and then spend much longer removing the blobs. We're going to focus now on Julia's eyebrows, and I'm going to use a little bit of Instant Bright highlighter before using a little bit of Bring Back Brow, just to add a little bit more definition. They're already gorgeous, but we're just going to add a little bit of definition to the eyebrows. So, it's a clicky pen, and you just click it to get the product up, and I'm going to put a little bit just underneath Julia's brows, just to create that little bit of extra definition. And while I've got it, I'm going to put a little bit just onto Julia's cheekbone, just on the top of her cheekbone. What you don't want to do with Crepey Eyes is to put a really shimmery highlighter here, because that will just, anything too shimmery will just emphasize any fine lines that we have. So this is brilliant because it's dewy, but it's not really shimmery. The first thing I'm going to do is to groom Julia's brows with our spoolie brush, number 6, just to make sure we get the right shape. So we have got 3 shades in Bring Back Brow. I'm actually going to use shade in Blonde. Could have used any really of the 3 shades, but I think we're going to use Blonde and then go over it with the dark taupe eyeshadow. It's got a little fine paintbrush on it, and it's waterproof, and you can actually paint in individual hairs. I like to start in the middle, just little short strokes, and then most of us lose the end of our brows. So just to bring it to the outer edge, and then I go back into the middle and go in the slightly upward, because that's the way that the hair grows in the middle. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over the Bring Back Brow shape using the dark taupe, which is what I used in the socket line area. Using my wedge brush again, fill in. So this is something you can do on top of Bring Back Brow, instead of Bring Back Brow, if you've just got very little time. Just gives a little bit of extra colour. So if you've got crepey eyes, you've got eyes that you're not so happy with, if you can get really lovely cheeks, beautiful lips, it's a little bit of a distraction as well away from the eye area. So we're going to use today our fabulous blush in Desert Rose. This is a really good blusher because it's a cream that turns into a slightly silky powder, so it works really well on older skin. So you smile to find the apple and then work, so you want to go just above the apple and about halfway down the eye and slightly further out, or you can use 2 fingers from your nose as a sort of a starting point. So, and I'm just bringing it up in a sort of teardrop shape with my finger to start with. What I then do is take my blusher brush, number 2, and just blend that in slightly circular motion. You can apply it directly with the blusher brush if you want to. Just gives you that lovely, healthy glow. So before we do lips, I'm going to add some Never Feather Lip Prime, and this will stop your lipstick from feathering outwards. So we're just going to put it on the outer edge of Julia's lip, just to create a bit of a barrier. I'm going to define Julia's lips with one of our lovely soft lip liners, and I'm going to use the shade Strawberry. So I'm going to actually go on the outer edge of Julia's lips. I tend to start in the middle and work my way out, and then if you stretch them out, I'm going to now actually fill in so that I'm not left with just an outline, but we've stained the whole lips with the lip liner. You might not want to do this, you might want to go straight in with lipstick, but this is a good way to create a bit of a base. I'm going to go for a reasonably vibrant colour, which again is, as I said, it's quite nice if you've got slightly crepier eyes, just to draw the attention elsewhere, and lips is one way of doing that. So we're going to use Foxy Lady. And I'm going to use a lip brush number 5, just to apply. Always gives you a little bit more of a professional look if you use a lip brush. This is absolutely perfect for the look today, I think. So thank you first of all for being such a patient, lovely model, Julia.
That's right.
I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've had a few tips from this. Just want to sort of run over a few things. Crepey eyes is something that's a really, really common problem. I think it happens to most of us as we age, and that's the joy of aging. It's that, you know, it's I call them lifelines. They're lifelines, but it's really important to use an eye prime. So using our Smooth Out Eye Prime will make a big difference on keeping your eyeshadow in place, even if there's crepiness and fine lines around the eyes. Not putting too much concealer underneath, because you don't want anything to settle, but a little bit of concealer, and using the tapping motion. When you put your eyeshadow on, using the methods that I use, so pressing rather than moving it in that direction, is really important. And when you blend, the same thing. So make sure you've got your eye open, so you're making sure you're putting it high enough. Using matte shadows is really, really good. If you do want a little bit of shimmer, then again, you could use our creamy eyeshadow stick, but I probably would only put it just a little bit in the center. I wouldn't go all over necessarily. But keeping the blending really, really good, and lifting with the eyeliner. Sort of focusing on that eyeliner on that outer corner, both the top and bottom, will lift everything, and going over the eyeliner with a little bit of shadow just to soften everything. Lovely, lovely base, lovely blusher, and really lovely lips will just, again, detract away from crepey eyes. Distraction always works really well. And just remember, it's the whole look that people are looking at. And you look gorgeous. You've actually got gorgeous eyes, lovely eyebrows. And yeah, lovely. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video.
Yeah.
I hope you've enjoyed the experience. If you've got any comments or questions, we would absolutely love to hear from you. Put them in the box below, and we really look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.